Kingdom Plantae. Kingdom Plantae includes all eukaryotic chlorophyll containing organisms commonly called plants. A few members are partially heterotrophic such as insectivorous plants and parasites. The bladderwort and Venus flytrap are the examples of insectivorous plants, and Cuscuta is a parasite. The plant cells have a eukaryotic structure with prominent chlorophyll and cell wall mainly made of cellulose. You will study the eukaryotic cell structure in detail in chapter 8. The Plantae includes algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms. The life cycle of plants have two distinct phases: diploid sporophytic and haploid gametophytic. That alternate with each other. The lengths of haploid and diploid phases and whether these phases are free living or dependent on the others vary among different groups in plants. This phenomena is called alternation of generation. You will study further in the details in chapter 3. Kingdom Animalia. This kingdom is characterized by heterotrophic eukaryotic organisms that are multicellular and their cells lack cell walls. They directly or indirectly depends on plants for food. They digest their food in an internal cavity and store food resources as glycogen and fat. Their mode of nutrition is holozoic. By ingestion of food, they follow a defined growth pattern and grow into adults that have defined shape and size. Higher forms show elaborated sensory and neuromotory mechanism. Most of them are capable of locomotion. The sexual reproduction is by copulation of male and female followed by embryological development. Silent features of various phyla are described in chapter 4. Next, viruses, viroids and prions and lichens. In the five kingdom classification of Whittaker, there is no mention of lichens and some acellular organisms like viruses, viroids and prions. These are briefly introduced here. All of us who have suffered the ill effects of common cold or flu know what effects viruses can have on us. Even if we do not associate with it our conditions, viruses did not find a place in classification since they do not consider truly living. If we understand living as those organisms that have cell structure, the viruses are non-cellular organisms that are characterized by having an inert crystalline structure outside the living cell. Next, you can see the diagram of TMV, tobacco mosaic virus and bacteriophage here. You can see the head and the collar and the sheath and the tail fibers. These years the diagrams also very much important. You can have to see here. These are the capsids and the RNA structure of the tobacco mosaic virus. Now coming to here, once they have infected a cell, they taken over the machinery of the host to replicate themselves, killing the host. Would you call the viruses living or not living? Answer in the comment section. The name virus, that means venom or poisonous fluid, was given by Dmitry Ivanovsky in 1892, recognized certain microbes as casual organisms of the mosaic disease of tobacco. They were found to be smaller than bacteria because they passed through bacterial proof filters. M.W. Bizernik in 1898 demonstrated that extract of infected plants of tobacco could cause infection in healthy plants called fluid as Contagium vivium fluidum, infectious living fluid. W.M. Stanley in 1935 showed that viruses could be crystallized, and crystals consist largely of proteins. They are insert outside their specific host cell. Viruses are obligate parasites. In addition to proteins, viruses also contain genetic material that could be either DNA or RNA. No virus contains both RNA and DNA. A virus is a nucleoprotein and a genetic material is infectious. In general, viruses that infect plants have single-stranded RNA, and the virus that infect animals have either single or double-stranded RNA or double-stranded DNA. Bacterial viruses are bacteriophages. Viruses that infect the bacteria are usually double-stranded DNA viruses. The protein coat called capsid, made up of small subunits called capsomers, protects the nucleic acid. These capsomers are arranged in helical or polyhedral geometric forms. Viruses cause diseases like mumps, smallpox, herpes and influenza, and AIDS in humans also caused by virus. In plants, the symptoms are called mosaic formation, leaf rolling, curling, yellowing, and vein clearing, and dwarfing and stunted growth. Next, Viroids. Tivodina in 1971 discovered a new infectious agent that was smaller than viruses and caused potato spindle tuber disease. It was found to be RNA free. It lacked a protein coat that is found in viruses. Hence the name is viroid, and the RNA of the viroid was a low molecular weight. Next, prions. In modern medicine, certain infectious neurological diseases were found to be transmitted by an agent consisting of abnormally folded protein. The agent was similar in size to viruses. These agents were prions. The most notable diseases caused by prions are bovine spongiform encephalopathy (BSE), commonly called mad cow disease in cattle, and its analogy variant Sear Jacob disease in CJD in humans. Lichens are symbiotic associations, mutually useful associations between algae and fungi. The algal component is known as phycobient and the fungal component is known as mycobient, which are autotrophic and heterotrophic respectively. Algae prepare food for fungi and fungi provide shelter and abnormal mineral nutrition and water for its partner. So close is their association that if one saw a lichen in nature, one could never imagine that they had two different organisms within them. Lichens are very good pollution indicators that do not grow in polluted areas. And finally, biological classification is completed.